Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, before we embark on this journey to discover the wondrous landscapes ahead, please take a moment to hit the like button, share this video with those you cherish, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any adventures to come. Your companionship and support are the very inspiration that fuels our path to continue weaving magical stories about the land, nature, and people of Vietnam. Tràng An, often called the Ha Long Bay on land, unfolds like a colossal painting. Carved in silence by nature and time, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site in a sacred realm, where the beauty of water and mountains, forests, and the spiritual depth of the Vietnamese people converge. Here, winding rivers embrace limestone ranges, towering peaks stretch toward the sky, and ancient caves conceal millennia-old secrets, each whispering its own tales, as if wishing to hold back the footsteps of every traveler. The sight can easily overwhelm anyone as their boat glides gently across the emerald water. The river of Tràng An is not just a natural waterway, it is a mirror reflecting the sky and the surrounding mountains, making the scenery appear both real and surreal, at once near and distant. Its waters are so clear one feels they could glimpse the depths. Yet they evoke a dreamy stillness, a place where humanity and nature seem to merge as one. Perhaps the most extraordinary feature of Tràng An is its delicate harmony of grandeur and tranquility. The limestone ranges, formed millions of years ago, rise like impenetrable citadels. They bear the solemn majesty of a natural fortress and the timeless artistry of colossal sculptures carved by ages past. Looking up, a traveler cannot help but feel small before such eternity. Yet, simultaneously, the river spreads out calm and tender, like a green silk ribbon weaving around the mountain's feet, softening the starkness and creating a rare, perfect balance. Light and shadow weave together as the boat drifts into mysterious caves, opening a real and otherworldly journey. Stalactites shimmer under torchlight, forming countless shapes, sometimes resembling blooming lotuses, like a giant hand reaching upward, and sometimes like ancient vaulted ceilings of mystical temples. Imagery awakens here, drawing one into another realm where beauty is no longer bound by reason but instead met with awe and reverence. One soon realizes that Tràng An is not simply a scenic wonder. It symbolizes harmony between humans and nature, between history and the present. Over 1,000 years ago, this land was home to Hoa Lu, the capital of Dai Co Viet, the cradle of the Vietnamese nation. Echoes of founding heroes, battles against invaders, and sacred rituals still linger among the mountains and rivers. As the boat passes ancient temples hidden in the forested hills, one can sense an invisible bond between past and present, between modern footsteps and voices from centuries ago. In such moments, one may wonder, is this fusion of nature and history making Tràng An timeless? Each visit, each glance, each stroke of the oar reveals a new perspective. The mountains remain, the waters remain, the caves remain, but emotions never repeat. Perhaps this mysterious charm draws generations of travelers to return repeatedly. Let your eyes wander beyond the rolling peaks. Let your soul drift with the breeze rustling through the trees. And let your heart listen to the rhythm of water against the boat. Then you will realize Tràng An's beauty is seen, heard, breathed, and lived. It awakens people from the clamor of daily life, gifting them a rare serenity, the serenity of untouched nature and the endless flow of time. The more you watch and listen, the more you feel, the clearer it becomes. Tràng An is not only for the eyes, but also for the soul seeking refuge. Each mountain, each river, each temple carries a quiet reminder that true beauty lies not in grandeur, but in simplicity, purity, and eternity. Perhaps the greatest wonder is the feeling one carries home. It is not just a few photographs of stunning landscapes, but a profound change within. Some may feel they have been cleansed, made purer amid the world's dust. Others may realize that sometimes, happiness is as simple as sitting quietly on a small boat, watching rivers and mountains unfold endlessly, and letting the soul drift along with the water. The land of Tràng An, with all its lyrical charm of mountains and rivers, feels like an endless poem. It needs no words to explain, no reasoning to justify, just a glance, a moment of listening, a quiet feeling, and the traveler's heart begins to echo with admiration and gratitude. And when twilight descends, the sun painting the water red and the limestone peaks fading into the embrace of dusk, Tràng An becomes more magical than ever. In that fleeting moment, heaven and earth seem to melt into one vast expanse, where all boundaries disappear. One can no longer distinguish between dream and reality, present and past, self and the universe. Everything fuses, everything ascends. The limestone mountains stretch endlessly like a colossal wall of nature, rising solemnly in the heart of Tràng An. They evoke the grandeur of heaven and earth but also remind humankind that against such eternity, our earthly footsteps are but fleeting. Yet within this fragility lies a profound connection, like an invisible current linking generation to generation. Perhaps that is why the old Vietnamese chose this place to establish their capital, entrusting their faith to the endurance and sacredness of the land. On small wooden boats, each slow stroke of the oar ripples across the water, circles spreading, then fading away. It is an image of time itself, beginning, expanding, dissolving, and beginning again. One might imagine that each paddle stroke is a breath of the universe, connecting past to present, and continuing endlessly into the future. Looking around, one sees mountains embracing rivers, rivers circling mountains, united as if in an infinite embrace of nature, sheltering the human spirit. Hidden among the peaks lie ancient temples and pagodas, cloaked in moss and silence. They do not boast, they do not clamor, they endure. Quiet witnesses of history. Take Bai Dinh Pagoda, regarded as one of the great spiritual centers of Vietnam, where millions of Buddhists turn their hearts in reverence. Majestic bronze statues, soaring temple roofs, and bells echoing across valleys all blend with the wind and birdsong, creating a sacred symphony. Those who come here do not only visit, they make a pilgrimage, seeking peace of mind, restoring balance in the chaos of life. Wandering through dense forests, visitors may suddenly glimpse rare birds sweeping low over the water, or hear the distant call of monkeys swinging through the trees. Tràng An is a cultural heritage site and a nature reserve where biodiversity is preserved. In the vast stillness, every sound of nature becomes distinct: the murmur of running water, the whisper of leaves in the wind, the gentle splash of fish beneath the surface. It tells the story of life, of the eternal cycle of existence. There is a subtle detail often overlooked. Each cave in Tràng An carries its own name, tied to its shape, legend, or historical trace. Now Ro Cave, where ancient distilling tools were once found. Dark Cave, with winding paths leading into deep shadow. Light Cave, where radiant sunshine bursts forth as the boat emerges from darkness. Each name is a story, a fragment of memory, a piece of this land's soul. Passing through each cave feels like turning the pages of an ancient book, revealing the inseparable bond between nature and culture. The scenery of Tràng An changes with the seasons, each moment carrying its own distinct character. In spring, delicate drizzles blur the space with mystical fog, as if the earth slumbers. Summer brings golden sunlight dancing across the shimmering water, lush greenery, and vibrant life. Autumn arrives with cool breezes and drifting yellow leaves, tinting the landscape with nostalgia. Winter shrouds the mountains in mist and silence, like a great meditation. And no matter the season, Tràng An holds a beauty all its own, never repeating, never growing old. One can imagine the final rays of the day falling across the river, clothing the whole scene in a new robe. Mountains glow with gold, the water shimmers with bronze, everything hazy and dreamlike. It is a moment when the soul falls silent, listening to its own deepest call. Here, the rush of cities disappears. The noise subsides, leaving only a space where humans and nature converse. And in that conversation, one often discovers the most authentic self, simple, primal, and profoundly deep. Curiously, amid such vastness, one does not feel lost. Instead, a sense of being embraced and sheltered takes hold. Perhaps this is because Tràng An's nature is not distant, but close and warm. Like a great home, each mountain feels like a companion, each river like a confidant, each cave like a hidden treasure to be discovered. And when one opens the heart, everything becomes a fellow traveler on the journey towards serenity. The festivals of the region breathe an exceptional vitality into Tràng An. The annual Tràng An Festival is not only an occasion to honor the merits of ancient kings and ancestors who built the nation, but also a time for communities to gather, to share joy and gratitude. In the rhythm of drums and gongs, in the exuberance of traditional dances, one clearly sees the spirit of unity. the invisible bond linking people together, and connecting people to the land and sky. In this light, Tràng An is not just a travel destination. It is a spiritual journey, an emotional journey, a journey of return. Here, every sense is awakened, the eyes see, the ears hear, the skin feels the breeze, and the heart feels peace. And in that resonance, one realizes that beauty does not lie in complexity, but in simplicity and authenticity. One soon feels that every scene in Tràng An is like a mirror, reflecting the image of nature and the beholder's soul. When the heart is calm, the scenery appears gentle. When the heart is restless, the scenery ripples as if stirred. This reflection makes each visit an experience utterly unique, never to be repeated, for every soul is its own universe. When the boat slowly departs the dock, the journey ends, and the echoes of Tràng An's rivers and mountains linger within. They do not fade or vanish, they remain, like a small flame lighting the soul, like a promise of return. Tràng An unfolds like a land both real and dreamlike. One will notice that every detail here is a piece of the perfect masterpiece nature has gifted humankind. The river winds gently among limestone ranges, never hurried, never rushed, flowing softly as if guiding one back to the source. The water lies still, so vividly emerald that it feels like a mere touch could shatter the sky above into countless ripples. Amidst these waters, summer lotuses bloom, releasing their delicate fragrance. The lotus, a flower revered as a symbol of purity, rising unstained from the mud, carries even more profound meaning in Tràng An. When the breeze drifts, the scent lingers, subtle yet persistent, pausing the traveler's steps to listen. And in that very moment, one realizes that nature offers more than beauty for the eyes. It awakens the hidden depths of the soul. The mountains stretch endlessly, standing like mighty ramparts of nature. They do not merely shape the grandeur of the landscape, they are silent witnesses of time. Every cliff and crevice holds the imprint of millions of years of formation. In each vein of stone, in each layer of rock, lies the long tale of the earth's creation, of nature's quiet yet eternal movements. To the mindful observer, it feels like reading an ancient book without words, where every page breathes with the universe. As the boat drifts deeper into the heritage, the journey passes through many realms. At times, sunlight floods the waters, painting a radiant paradise. Sometimes, the boat enters shadowed caves, where darkness envelops, and one's heartbeat slows. In such silence, the faintest sounds, the water drip from stalactites, the oar's soft stroke, become music. The listener feels poised at the threshold between two worlds, one of light, one of mystery. That mystery deepens when one recalls that archaeologists discovered traces of prehistoric humans who lived here tens of thousands of years ago. Beneath these limestone peaks, Tràng An is not only nature, it is also a cradle of human existence. Where our ancestors once walked, once sought life, once kindled the first fires. How wondrous to realize that the place we now sit on boats to admire the scenery was, millennia ago, the home of those who began the earliest chapters of human history on this land. The observer will sense the strange interweaving of the ancient and the present. Majestic temples nestled in valleys, stone statues carved in the likeness of kings, sacred rituals preserved across generations. In the distant echo of temple bells, one hears the resonance of history, the footsteps of those who walked 1,000 years ago. This interplay gives Tràng An its profound depth, a place of natural heritage, cultural heritage, and living memory of a nation. Each journey through Tràng An is not only about sightseeing but also about contemplation. Confronted with the mountain's grandeur, we realize our own smallness. Sitting quietly on the boat, with the breeze brushing through our hair, we discover the need for stillness. Walking past ancient pagodas, we realize that the human heart has always yearned for a spiritual anchor, a place to entrust its faith. And it is precisely this that makes Tràng An a true land of healing, where one can restore balance to the soul. Those who have taken a boat ride at dawn in Tràng An will see the entire landscape wrapped in a veil of mist, dreamlike as if in slumber. In that haze, mountains rise from the waters, fading and reappearing, evoking a sense of closeness and distance. It is a moment where the boundary between dream and reality dissolves, leaving only an infinite space where the spirit may drift freely. By contrast, when golden sunlight floods the scene at noon, One feels life in full bloom, nature laughing, opening its arms in welcome. And at sunset, when crimson light spreads across the waters, Tràng An becomes an evening symphony, solemn, profound, yet radiant with afterglow. The beauty of Tràng An is not ostentatious, but subtle, one that makes you pause, reflect, and breathe. It is a beauty of balance, between mountain and river, light and shadow, past and present. This beauty never clamors for attention, yet it etches itself deep within memory, remaining long after departure. Picture this. As the boat leaves the shore, the soft lap of waves and the whisper of wind still echo within. The image of mountains, lotuses, and pagodas lingers in the mind's eye, and upon returning to daily life, those memories remain like a small lantern, illuminating weary moments, reminding us that a land of peace still awaits. Tràng An, a place where beauty needs no explanation, where words themselves feel unnecessary. One needs only to open their eyes to see, their ears to hear, their heart to feel, and let nature speak. The landscape awakens from a long slumber when the first rays fall upon Tràng An's valleys at dawn. Morning dew clings to blades of grass, sparkling like pearls. Birds sing joyfully from deep in the forest, blending with the rhythmic splash of oars upon the river, creating a gentle and majestic symphony. The observer feels reborn, as though body and soul are cleansed by the emerald waters flowing beneath. Every waterway in Tràng An unveils its own surprises. Sometimes, the boat passes through a narrow gorge, stone ceilings arching so low they nearly touch the river, compelling one to bow, as if in reverence to the greatness of nature. Sometimes, a dark cavern suddenly opens into radiant light, where the sky bursts over the river. These sudden shifts leave travelers awestruck, like stepping through gateways into entirely different worlds. On this journey, folk tales and legends suddenly come alive. People say that some mountains are sacred dragons, and rivers carry with them the ancient stories of kings and deities. This blending of landscape and legend turns Tràng An into a land to admire. Imagine, and let the soul take flight. One realizes that when nature and myth converge, the collective memory of a nation is etched into every mountain, every river. At the heart of this heritage lies the Tràng Temple complex of Ninh Binh, hidden deep within the forest. A sacred stop along the way. Ancient tiled roofs, solemn statues, and curling incense smoke transport visitors into another world, a world of reverence and timeless faith. Travelers come not only to worship, but also to find a moment of stillness within themselves, to face their own hearts in the silence of the mountains. In that quiet, burdens lift, and daily worries dissolve, leaving only profound serenity. Tràng An is also renowned for its vast and unique system of caves. Some stretch hundreds of meters, filled with glittering stalactites, sculpted by nature's hand into marvelous shapes. They appear as castles, celestial pillars, or delicate stone curtains. Each form sparks a different imagination, keeping visitors in awe with every step. Yet the greatest wonder is not the sight, but the feeling within the caves: absolute stillness, coolness that seeps into the skin, and the sense of being small, cradled in the womb of Mother Earth. During festival days, Tràng An glows with both celebration and solemnity. Boats adorned with vibrant flags and flowers cut across the waves to the beat of drums and gongs. Locals and visitors gather for incense offering ceremonies, honoring enlightened kings like Dinh Tien Hoang and La Dai Han, those who once laid the foundations of Dai Co Viet on this very land. In such moments, Tràng An becomes more than just nature, more than heritage. History's memory merges with the present, rekindling pride and love for the homeland in every heart. Perhaps this harmony between majestic nature, heroic history, and profound spirituality gives Tràng An its distinct soul. One cannot simply observe with the eyes, they must listen, feel, and let each scene sink deep into the soul. In that union, they discover an invisible connection, a bond that dissolves the boundaries of time and space. Close your eyes and imagine the steady rhythm of paddles echoing like a heartbeat, birdsong weaving through, the wind whispering through leaves. You are no longer an outsider but part of the symphony. This becoming one is the most profound meaning of exploring Tràng An, not just to see, but to merge, to belong to nature itself. Remarkably, the deeper one goes into Tràng An, the more they discover the beauty of simplicity. No grand human-made structures, No artificial noise, only mountains, water, sky, and clouds. And it is precisely this simplicity that touches the soul's depths, lingering forever in memory. In a modern world full of noise and rush, Tràng An stands as a reminder. There are eternal beauties that time can never fade. And as the journey nears its end, as the boat returns to the old pier, one often feels reluctant to leave, not because the trip was short, but because the beauty has carved itself so deeply into the heart that every step away feels heavy. Yet in that very moment, one realizes, Tràng An does not only live in the land of Binh, but forever in memory, in the heart, in tender dreams of a land of rivers and mountains. In the late afternoon, the landscape dons a golden cloak as the sunlight softens. The limestone mountains no longer blaze but become solemn and dignified, reflecting in the amber-tinted river. It is the moment when nature shifts from radiant to tranquil, dazzling to contemplative, like a melody descending into deep, thoughtful notes. The boat drifts unhurried, as if trying to prolong this feeling. Picture the ripples spreading outward, fading into nothingness without leaving a trace. Is that not a metaphor for life itself? All turmoil and restlessness eventually settle into the boundless embrace of heaven and earth. In that vastness, one feels lighter, as though the burdens of the soul melt away with the water. Birds glide back to their nests, sketching graceful curves across the sky. Their calls echo through the valley, blending with the wind rushing along the cliffs. The scene is no longer a still image, but a living symphony, where every detail plays its part in creating perfect harmony. A quiet observer becomes part of this symphony, a small yet vital note in nature's grand composition. As the boat passes temples nestled against the mountainside, the scent of incense drifts with the evening breeze. Moss-covered stone steps lead up to curved rooftops, where a bell tolls, echoing through the valley. It is the call of the spirit, the bond between humanity and the unseen. In that instant, one feels the miraculous convergence, the beauty of nature, the stillness of faith, and the imprints of history. To speak of Tràng An without recalling the memory of the ancient capital of Walu would indeed be incomplete. This land once bore witness to the first steps of Dai Co Viet's founding. Among these cliffs once rang the sounds of war drums, the cries of warriors, and the clash of swords. On these rivers once sailed fleets of boats, reflections of heroic triumphs upon the waters. Today, as one sits in a boat, it is not just sightseeing, but a journey backward through time, hearing history's breath echoing from the distant past. There is something special about Tràng An. The deeper one ventures, the more vibrant life appears. Not only lush greenery, but schools of fish darting beneath the water, butterflies fluttering along the banks, and flocks of birds gathering on the cliffs. All coexist in harmony, no competition, no chaos, only a serene balance of nature. And this balance is Tràng An's greatest lesson, that the universe moves in harmony. And humans, if they live in accord with it, will also find peace. Now imagine a night in Tràng An. Under the rising moon, silver light spreads across the river, and mountains stand as mystical silhouettes, hazy like an ink painting. In this scene, the gentle sound of paddles stirs shimmering moonlit ripples. It is a moment when the line between self and landscape disappears. Everything melts into one. Everything becomes a pure dream. Many visitors have shared that when they leave Tràng An, they feel like they have undergone a healing journey. Some rediscovered faith after weary days. Some realized the value of simplicity and of listening. Others found themselves again, their purest self, free from the struggles of the outside world. With its serene and sacred beauty, Tràng An achieves what few places can, awakening the deepest parts of the soul. One could say that Tràng An is beautiful not only to the eye but also to the heart. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a spiritual legacy for all who have set foot here. Its beauty requires no lavish praise, for its very existence is the most eloquent testimony. It compels silence, humility, admiration, and most importantly, gratitude. And then, when the final sunset sinks and the crimson light fades completely behind the mountains, Tràng An seems to fall into a new slumber. Yet this sleep is not an ending, but a preparation for another dawn, another cycle of life. In this eternal rhythm, Tràng An endures, forever echoing the endless melody of its rivers and mountains. As night descends upon Tràng An and distant lanterns begin to glow, the landscape dons a mystical new cloak. The once towering mountains now appear only as dark silhouettes against the deep blue night sky. Across the water, moonlight scatters like silver, the ripples shimmering gently as if keeping time to an ancient song. In this stillness, Tràng An becomes more profound than ever, not only a place to see, but a place to listen to the whispered voice of heaven and earth. The sounds of the night here are unlike those of the day. No more splashing oars, no more cheerful chatter of travelers, only the rustling of wind through the leaves, the chorus of crickets, and sometimes the soft splash of fish beneath the river's surface. In this simplicity, one suddenly hears the rhythm of their own heartbeat, feels their own smallness, yet also the comfort of being held within nature's vast embrace. If mornings in Tràng An shine with vitality, then nights are when the soul finds stillness. Imagine yourself seated in a small boat on a calm river, gazing at thousands of twinkling stars. The sky feels infinite, and the heart, too, opens wide, shedding all worldly burdens. It is a sense of release, of letting go, a moment when one can face oneself honestly. Temples that fade in and out of the darkness seem more sacred than ever. Golden lights flicker from afar like tiny flames guiding the way through the night. A temple bell tolls, its sound reverberating against the cliffs, striking every chord of the soul and stirring deep emotions. Night in Tràng An is not merely darkness, it is a spiritual realm, where everything feels closer to the unseen, where one discovers the sacred bond between the finite and the infinite. Look closely, and you will find life still pulsing through the night. The gleam of nocturnal birds' eyes flashes between branches. Insects create a ceaseless orchestra. The river seems calm, yet beneath its surface, countless creatures creep. Tràng An at night is never entirely silent. It is another kind of life, subtle, slow, yet full of rhythm and mystery. In such moments, one realizes that true beauty lies not only in what the eyes can see but also in what the soul can feel. When the eyes are no longer dazzled by brilliant scenery, the heart opens to the subtleties of each sound, each breeze, each faint glimmer. Then, we touch a deeper layer of beauty that does not flaunt itself or reveal itself openly, but hides within shadow and silence. Night in Tràng An also stirs reflections on time. The mountains remain, the river flows, the stars turn endlessly above. Only people change, growing older, passing on, yet sitting within this scene, one feels calm and not sorrowful. For the eternity of nature reminds us, every worry will eventually drift away. Every wound will ultimately heal. In the night, Tràng An becomes a mirror of this eternity, teaching us how to be still and let go. The observer can clearly sense the universe's movement when a cool breeze drifts by. From where does the wind come? And where does it go? From where do the ripples rise? And into what do they fade? Everything flows in cycles, returning to its primordial origin. And humans, within that stream, are but specks of dust, yet at the same time part of the infinite ocean. This realization is humbling and uplifting, opening the heart to the vast cosmos. In such stillness, those weary of life's struggles find themselves healed. No pressure, no judgment, no noise, only gentle darkness, soft moonlight, and the whisper of the wind. That simplicity becomes the most potent medicine, restoring the soul to a pure, original state. One realizes that rebirth does not always require something grand. It can begin in a peaceful moment like this. And when the night gradually retreats, as the first rays of light appear behind the mountains, Tràng An changes its robe again. Yet in this transition, one truly understands the value of darkness. It is not an ending, but a pause, a breath before a new beginning. Like inhaling and exhaling, night and day follow one another, keeping life flowing endlessly. Tràng An, whether in night, in day, or in every fleeting moment, is a journey into the human heart. It is not only an external heritage, but also an inner one, where people discover balance, freedom, and peace. Dawn in Tràng An does not arrive suddenly, but unfolds gradually like a painting layered with colors. At first, a faint streak of light emerges behind the distant mountains. Then golden hues spread, tinting the sky with pink. Once silent in the night, the water now gleams like a giant mirror reflecting the newborn sun. The mountains remain, but are now brimming with vitality, as if awakened from a long slumber by the universe's breath. This is the moment that leaves every soul in awe. The observer sees birds spreading their wings, leaving their nests, soaring into the widening sky. Birdsongs ring out, breezes stir the trees, the river laps softly against the boat, all joining in to compose the fresh overture of a new day. In this instant, one can feel renewal, as though the heart beats in rhythm with nature's pulse. As the light grows stronger, details once hidden in darkness are revealed. Lush green grass stretches along the riverbanks, cliffs gleam in the morning mist, and streams shimmer like liquid silver. The scene fills the eyes and seeps into the soul, urging the beholder to open to its embrace fully. It is a raw beauty, untouched, not crafted by human hands, but sculpted by the universe over millions of years. One of Tràng An's miracles is its balance, day and night, light and dark, movement and stillness. Dawn is not only light dispelling darkness, but also a symbol of rebirth. It reminds us that new light always awaits, no matter how dark life may seem. Witnessing this scene, one also feels reborn, granted another chance to begin anew, to live more fully. At this time, Tràng An's rivers come alive as fleets of boats set out. Oars dip steadily, rippling the water into gentle circles. Tourists gaze in silence, each carrying their own thoughts yet sharing the same sense of awe. No one can remain untouched by this beauty, a beauty that halts all calculation, leaving only breath and wonder. Venturing deeper into the limestone mountains, the first sunlight weaves through the ridges, scattering shimmering streaks across the river. In the darkest caves, the light reveals stalactites sparkling like gems. Cliffs that once seemed austere now glow like magnificent paintings under dawn's touch. Tràng An does not flaunt its beauty, yet its simplicity compels reverence. At that moment, one may realize that nature is a landscape to behold and a profound teacher. The mountains teach steadfastness, the river teaches adaptability, the dawn teaches hope, and the night teaches release. Every moment in Tràng An reminds us that life can be lived more lightly and meaningfully if we learn from nature. Some travelers stay for days to experience the full cycle: morning, noon, afternoon, evening, night, and dawn. Each moment is a different face of nature, each bearing its message. Of them all, dawn is the most sacred, opening the door to hope and renewal. Anyone who has witnessed dawn in Tràng An carries an unforgettable memory. And when the sun finally climbs high, flooding the valley with light, Tràng An reveals itself in complete splendor. Towering mountains, winding rivers, verdant trees, and chirping birds all weave together into a vibrant, perfect tableau. In this instant, one understands, Tràng An is not merely a place to visit, but a journey of the soul, where every moment can be a new beginning. The beauty of dawn in Tràng An is nature's promise, that after every darkness, there is light, after every silence, a beginning, after every loss, renewal, and those who witness it, if they truly listen, will carry that promise throughout their lives. When the sun stands high, Tràng An shines in dazzling vitality. Golden light blankets the mountains, filters through every leaf, awakening the greenery after a long, quiet night. The river sparkles as if scattered with playful gems. The air is no longer hushed, but alive with sound, the splash of oars, the murmur of voices, and the laughter the wind carries. Tràng An steps into the rhythm of a new day, lively, yet still wrapped in its inherent tranquility. It is here that one sees the special bond between people and nature. With their calloused hands, the humble boatmen row steadily, guiding visitors through the waters. They are not only rowers, but also storytellers, keepers of the land's memory. Their voices, simple yet warm, recount the history of the ancient capital, the legends of the mountains, the festivals ablaze with torches and drums. These tales mingle with the sounds of nature, transporting travelers into a real and legendary world. Festivals in Tràng An, especially the Spring Tràng An Festival, embody the bridge between past and present. As thousands of visitors flock to the celebration, the air fills with the sounds of gongs, drums, and folk songs. Tràng An becomes a meeting place of faith, history, and communal joy. Imagine a long line of boats gliding, flags fluttering, songs echoing through rivers and mountains. It is a moment when nature and humanity coexist and harmonize, lifting each other in sacred celebration. The produce of this land also carries the essence of Tràng An. Every dish holds within it the breath of the earth, from the pure white grains of rice that become crispy, golden calm shea, to the firm mountain goat raised on rocky slopes, to the rich Kim Sun wine distilled from traditional herbal yeast. To taste them is to savor their flavors and the skill and sincerity of the people who make them. The flavors are not ostentatious, but rustic and straightforward, just like the people of Tràng An. The beauty of Tràng An by day lies also in its miraculous contrasts. The grandeur of towering mountains alongside the softness of flowing rivers. The vast openness of the sky alongside the winding caves. Each boat journey that passes through a dark cave and emerges into a sunlit valley feels like the journey of a soul, passing through shadows to find light. Through turns to grasp the immensity beyond. Attentive listeners may see their own reflection in that journey. Moments of narrowness and darkness, but always followed by moments of boundless space. What sets Tràng An apart is its balance. Despite welcoming countless visitors, the rivers remain clear, the mountains green, and the birds and fish abundant. The local people do not exploit nature hastily, but treasure and protect it as if it were a precious jewel. This respect makes Tràng An not just a tourist destination, but a living heritage, a place where nature and humanity coexist harmoniously. Sitting in Tràng An on a sunny day awakens every sense. The eyes drink in endless green. The ears catch cheerful birdsong. The lungs fill with the scent of grass and trees. The skin feels the cool breeze. And the soul relaxes into the vastness. It is a rare experience, not merely seeing nature, but truly living with it. If one asks what makes Tràng An's beauty unique, the answer lies not only in its scenery, but in the feeling it evokes. The sense of returning, of cleansing, of slowing down, of reconnecting with the deepest part of oneself. Each moment here is like a whisper, reminding us of simplicity, of timeless values. In this completeness, Tràng An by day is beautiful under the sun and in the rhythm of life itself, vibrant yet harmonious. Witnessing all of this, one realizes that Tràng An is not simply a destination, but an eternal lesson in balance, in the love of nature, and in how one may find oneself within the embrace of the earth and sky. As the sun leans westward, Tràng An puts on its final mystery of the day. The crimson sunset paints the limestone cliffs as if gilded with fire and gold. The calm river reflects the sky, its ripples like endless flowing silk. In this scene, all sounds soften, all movements slow, giving way to stillness. The observer realizes this is a magical threshold, where light withdraws and darkness gently rises. At this moment, people often sit quietly and are reluctant to leave. In the fading of a day, they glimpse eternity. The sun sets, yet will rise again. Night descends, yet morning will return. This cycle is proof of nature's immortality, of life's endless continuation. And from it, serenity seeps into the heart, a serenity toward change, impermanence, and even the gains and losses of life. Those who pay close attention will see that the sunset in Tràng An holds both an ending and a beginning. The end of a day, yet also the opening of new possibilities. The end of a boat ride, yet the start of an inner journey. Here, one learns that freedom does not lie in escaping the world, but in releasing inner burdens. When the heart is at peace and the mind is open, wherever one goes, serenity travels within. Tràng An touches the deepest layers of emotion through its pristine and sacred beauty. It is a natural wonder, cultural heritage, and a place where the soul rediscovers rebirth. From the gentle flowing waters, majestic mountains, and shifting light of each moment comes a single message: live fully. Be grateful, let go, and trust in renewal. When the boat returns to shore, the journey seems to end, but another begins, the journey of understanding, of tranquility, no longer seeking validation from outside, for the actual value has already been found within. The ultimate freedom is freedom from worry, pressure, and endless whirl. Peace remains, like the waters of Tràng An, flowing ceaselessly, yet never in haste. And if you have traveled with us to this very end, let this feeling flow. Don't forget to like, share this video with those you love, and subscribe to our channel to discover more of Vietnam's wonders. Leave a comment below and share your impressions of Tràng An, its serenity, renewal, and the emotions stirring in you. Because who knows, your words may be the small light that inspires someone else to find their own journey.